Hi, kindergarten friends. We just are going to get started here with our very last story for the school year. And I'm really sorry this is the way that we have to do it, but the good news is that Miss O is so very lucky that I get to see you every year. So I will get to see all of you when you come back to school as first graders, and I'm very excited about that. So before we get started with our story, I hope you guys have a very good summer and you are able to find some fun things to do and that you are good helpers to your families. And I will see you when school starts in the fall. All right, so our story today is one of my favorites because it's a little bit silly. And I don't know if you've ever noticed that when Mrs. O was checking out the books, I have a mustache sticker on my laptop, and I don't know why. I just find mustaches kind of funny, and so I have my mustache clock in the library that my son bought me years ago. So today our story is Mustache Baby Meets His Match. Are you ready? Get into a nice listening position and let's find out what happens. So look, here's some of the things that you might expect to see if you had a baby in your house. Maybe some of you do have a baby in your house. If you do, I'm sure their baby has all sorts of toys. All right, here we go. Baby Billy was born with a mustache. Usually it was a good guy mustache, but occasionally it curled up at the ends and turned into, well, you know, good mustache or bad, Baby Billy's family loved him. Do you think when it curls up, do you think he's being a good guy or a bad guy? Then one day, baby Javier came to town. He was new and had a lot to learn. So Billy decided to show him a thing or two, like how he was the sharpest shooter in the West, and how he could work on the railroad all the live long day. Do any of you have train sets like that? Javier couldn't believe how rough and tough baby Billy was. But this wasn't Javier's first rodeo. Have you ever heard that expression before? It's not my first rodeo. That just means if you hear that, that just means the person says that they've done something like that before. He had a few things of his own to show Billy, like how he could wrestle a bear, catch a fish with his bare hands. Those are the kind of fish I like to catch. Do you like to eat goldfish? And chop down a tree in no time flat. Billy had never seen such grit. What do you think that word grit means? Do you think it means that you give up easily or that you kind of stick with things? Except when he was looking in the mirror, he intended to prove that he was the true hero and Javier was just a sidekick. He challenged Javier to a duel, but Javier disarmed Billy. And forced him to walk the plank. Oh, do you think that's a real shark? I hope not. Billy put on a magic show and turned one cookie into two. But Javier made both disappear. Do any of you think you could make a cookie disappear? I know I can. Billy tried to best Javier at math. 2 cookies plus 2 minus 2 cookies equals 0 cookies for Javier. And art and aviation and running for president. Now look at these 2 pictures. What do you think that word aviation means? Do you think it has something to do with flying? And for a final showdown, a motorcycle race. As they rounded the curve, Billy was ahead by a hair. What kind of hair? Do you think it's a hair on his head? Or do you think it's his mustache hair? But Javier won by a whisker. That really chapped Billy's hide. His mustache began to grow and curl up at the ends until he had a, it's going to be a good guy or a bad guy mustache. Look at those lines coming up from Billy's head. Do you think that means he's happy or is he really mad? A bad guy mustache. Oh, look at the look on his face. He definitely looks unhappy, doesn't he? Even his eyes don't look happy. He turned into a mad bandit, robbing Javier of his most prized possession. He stole his motorcycle, kind of like his tricycle. That infuriated Javier. Nobody stole his hog and got away with it. His beard grew pointier and pointier. Look how that's coming up off his head. Do you think he's going to have a good guy beard? Till he had a bad guy beard. Javier chased Billy into a wrestling ring and became the masked luchador Barba Nino, a.k.a. Beard Baby. Billy faced him as pro wrestler Mustache Baby. The crowd couldn't wait for the match to begin. Mustache Baby dodged Beard Baby's high flying maneuver, but just as Mustache Baby was ready to pin Beard Baby, what do you think's going to happen? The melee was broken up. Who do you think that those two people are? Do you think that's Javier's mom and dad, or do you think that's Billy's mom and dad? The wrestlers were sent to separate corners of the ring. Billy was sweaty and sad. He had wanted Javier as a sidekick, but instead he had become a bitter rival. Do you think rival means friend or someone that maybe is more like an enemy or somebody you're competing against? There, his mother said. Lots of friends wrestle with competitiveness, but sometimes the most important race is being the first to say you're sorry. Billy knew he could win that race. He raced toward his friend, but Javier met him halfway, and instead of being Billy's sidekick, Javier became his partner. And sometimes his partner in crime. What do you see they have? Do you think they asked for those cookies, or do you think maybe they just took them without asking? I don't know. Boys and girls, I hope you liked our last story together. I hope you have a wonderful and safe summer. I hope you're able to find some fun things to do, and I can't wait to see you when you're first graders. All right, friends, happy summer.